The research vessel Eternal Seeker drifted silently through the Orion Spur, its crystalline, whole refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns, Director Vanna. Texi stood at her observation post, all 6 eyes focused on the strange readings her sensors had detected from a nearby star system. Her species, the Meridians, had spent millennia peacefully studying the cosmos, cataloging new forms of life, and sharing knowledge. Across the galaxy, Director were detecting artificial structures in orbit around the third planet. Reported Navigator Kin, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with excitement. The energizacnatures don't match any known spacefaring civilization in our database, fans. Annan twitched with curiosity after centuries of exploration, discovering a new spacefaring species was rare. Bring us closer, but maintain our stealth field. Let's observe before making contact. The Eternal Seeker glided forward, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it virtually invisible to conventional sensors. As they approached, the ship's quantum imaging systems revealed a complex network of orbital stations, defense platforms, and vessels of various fascinating. Vanana whispered, they've achieved spaceflight without following the standard progression path. Look at those ship designs. Not crystalline matrices, no psychic resonance chambers. How do they even navigate? Her question was answered moments later, when their sensors detected a massive surge of electromagnetics seemed to ripple as a vessel emerged from what appeared to be a crude but effective faster-than-light driven. Director Science Officer Mez' voice carried an unfamiliar note of alarm. The vessel, it's covered in weapon IMP placements. Energy readings suggest enough firepower to what? Officer Mayer to destroy a small moon. Director Van's primary heart skipped a beat. In all her centuries of exploration, she'd never encountered a species that built warships of such magnitude. The Meridian Collective had outgrown the need for weapons millennia ago, as had most advanced civilizations they'd encountered. The human vessel's design was unlike anything in their database, where Meridian ships were organic curvesand flowing lines. This craft was angular, purposeful, and bristling with weapon ports it to bore scars and repairs, telling tales of battles fought and survived. They've detected us, Kin announced, his bioluminescence shifting to warning colors. Our stealth field. They're using some kind of quantum resonance scan technology we've never seen before. Before Vanana could respond, their communication system activated. A strong, clear voice spoke in perfect galactic standard thanks to their universal translators. Unidentified Vazel. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force vessel Resolute. You are in restricted space. Drop your cloak immediately, or we will consider your presence an act of aggression. Vanna felt her speciestro mark calm beginning to slip. How can they speak galactic standard? They shouldn't even know it exists. Director Mayer's voice shook slightly. I'm detecting multiple smaller craft launching from the Resolute. Their energy signatures, their weapon platforms of some kind. Open a channel, Vanna ordered, straightening her robes. This is Director Vanna Texi of the Meridian research vessel Eternal Seeker. We come in peace-seeking, only to study and learn. There was a pause before Captain Chen responded. Director Texi, your vessel's cloaked approach to a restricted system could be interpreted as hostile reconnaissance. Drop your stealth field and prepare for inspection. Inspection. Van's antenna curled in confusion. Captain, we are a Meridian vessel. We represent one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. We don't submit to inspections. Your age and status are irrelevant in human space. Director, you have 30 seconds to comply before we disable your vessel. The threat shocked Vanna to her core. No species had dared threaten a Meridian ship in over 0 years. Surely we can discuss this reasonably. We have much knowledge to share. Interrupted. Their targeting systems are unlike anything we've encountered there. Not using standard energy locks, they've developed some kind of predictive targeting algorithm that 10 seconds. Vanna made her decision. Lower the stealth field. Open all frequency-ish. Took a deep breath. Captain Chen, we will comply with your inspection, but I must protest this treatment of a peaceful research vessel. The human captain's response was professional but carried an edge of steel. Your protest is noted, Director. However, humanity has learned through hard experience that appearances can be deceiving. Hold position and prepare to be boarded as the inspection teams approached in their heavily armored shuttles. Vanna couldn't help but wonder what kind of experiences had shaped the species. What had they encountered, or what had they done to each other that made them so formidably so paranoid yet? So advanced, she was about to find out that humanity's path to the stars had been very different from anything the Meridians had ever imagined the human. Inspection team moved through the Eternal Seeker with methodical precision. Their armored suits made them look like walking tanks to Vaughn's eyes, each movement calculated and purposeful. The team leader, Lieutenant Maria Santos, kept one hand near her weapon while scanning every corner with sophisticated sensors built into her helmet. "Your ship design is unusual," Santos commented, her voice slightly distorted through her suits. "Stickers, noinernal compartmentalization, no emergency bulkheads, no point defense systems. How do you survive combat?" Van Zanon twitched in confusion. "Eternal Seekerus, a research vessel. We haven't needed combat capabilities in thousands of years." Santos paused, her helmet's visor beckoning transparent to reveal a face that mixed disbelief with concern. "New fence director, but that seems incredibly naif. The galaxy is exactly a safe place. The Meridian Collective has achieved perfect harmony through intellectual and spiritual advancements," Vaughn explained proudly. "We have no need for weapons." "Ma'am," one of Santos's team called out, "you need to see these sensor readings. They power core. It's completely X'd. One hit would chain react through the whole ship." Santos shook her head. "Director, your technology is incredible, but your ship is a disaster waiting to happen. Even civilian vessels in human space have basic defensive ability." Before Vanana could respond, the ship's communication system activated. Lieutenant Santos returned, "Tuth resolute immediately, Captain." Chen's voice carried unmistakable tension. With Have multiple contacts approaching at FTL speeds, the human team moved with startling speed, their previous methodical inspection forgotten as they rushed back to their shuttle. Vanna followed them to the docking bay, her scientific curiosity overriding her anxiety. "What's happening?" "She ask pirates," Santos replied grimly. "The Orion Syndicate, they prey on isolated ships, especially ones with valuable technology like yours. Van's primary heart nearly stopped pirates, but the collective eliminated piracy millennia ago. Maybe in your face," Santa said as she boarded her shuttle. "But out here, the strong survive, being stronger than those who would prey on them through the Eternal Seekers." Quantum imaging system. Vanana watched AS-5 ships dropped out of FTL. They were ugly, brutal things, cobbled together from Stalin technology and decorated with weapons of various origins. Their design philosophy, Samed To be quantity over quality. Dozens of weapon emplacements covered their hull's. "Attention, unknown vessels," Captain Chen's voice broadcast. "On all frequencies, you are entering restricted space. Withdraw immediately." The pirates' response came in the form of weapons. Fire a barrage of energy beams and projectiles that lit up space like a newborn star. Van expect Tosi, the resolute attempt to flee or negotiate instead. What happened next changed her understanding of warfare forever. The human warship moved like a predator, its engines firing in patterns thought seemed random, but allowed it to dodge the majority of incoming fire. What hits it did take were absorbed by layered defensive systems that made the Meridian stealth technology look primitive by comparison. Fascinating, Xian's officer May whispered, watching the battle unfold. "Their ship's designates not just about weapons. Look at how they're using gravitational waves to predict a projectile paths, how their point defense systems create overlapping fields of protection." The Resolute's counterattack was surgical and devastating. Instead of attempting to disable or capture the pirate vessels, it systematically destroyed their weapon emplacements and engines. Each shot seemed precisely calculated to cause a maximum damage with minimum energy expenditure. Director May called out, his bioluminescence pulsing with excitement. "I'm detecting something remarkable. The humans, they're not just fighting, they're gathering data. Each attack is slightly different, testing the pirates' defenses, learning their capabilities." Vanna watched in astonishment as the Resolute executed a maneuver that should have been impossible for a ship its size. It dove between two pirate vessels using their own crossfire against each other while its weapons picked apart their defenses. "They're not just warriors," she realized. "They're sun scientists. They've turned warfare into a form of research within Minutes the battle was over for pirate ships floated dead in space, their crews evacuated to escape pods the fifth had fled back into. FTL likely to warn others about the cost of attacking human-protected space captain. Chin's voice came through again, this time directed at the Eternal Seeker Director Texi. I trust you understand now why we take Securitizo seriously, L. Your ship will remain under our protection until we can escort you to the nearest Meridian outpost as Vana. Watch the human crew efficiently process the captured pirate sand. Secure the area. She began to understand humanity hadn't developed its military might out of aggression, but out of necessity. They had turned their drive to survive into an art form, convince a scientific methodology with martial prowess in ways the Meridians had never imagined, perhaps. She said to no one in particular, we have as much to learn from them as they do from us. The aftermath. Oft pirate attack left an uneasy quiet in its wake. The Eternal Seeker's crew watched in fascination as human damage control teams efficiently processed the battlefield debris, their movement suggesting long practice at such tasks, but the peace wouldn't last long. Multiple quantum distortions, detected Mayer's voice, carried an edge of panic that VA had never heard before. Thesa readings, they're unlike anything in our database. Captain Chin's voice cut through there. Come system, we're picking it up to Director Texi. Are you seeing this? Before Vanana could respond, space itself seemed to tear open. Through the breach emerged a sight that made both human and Meridian crews freeze. In hard, the vessel was massive, easily dwarfing both their ships combined. It's well composed of what appeared to be living metal that W.A. and shifted like liquid mercury by the first light. Venanea, whispered the Devars. There's supposed to be a myth care to share with the class director. Chen's voice was tense but controlled. They're an ancient species. Captain's stories tell of them consuming entire civilizations, breaking down all technology and organic matter to fuel their expansion, but they were supposed to have vanished. Onzagoth's massive vessel began emitting waves of energy that made both ship sensors scream and protest. The Resolute's engines flared to life, but the human ship didn't. Retreat all hands, battle stations, Chen ordered, her voice broadcasting to both. Vessel's director, Texi, your ship's in no condition to fight. Get out of here, we'll hold them off. Vanna felt an unfamiliar emotion. Shame, we can't just leave you. This isn't a debate, director. Your ship has no defenses, and we're not losing the most significant first contact in human history because you want to be noble. Besides, Chen's voice carried a hint of grim humor. We've been preparing for something like this since we first reached the stars. The door ship launched what appeared to be clouds of metallic-particles. Where they touched debris from the pirate battle, the metal began to break down and reform into smallerotic craft nanot. Weapons Mayor reported his bioluminescence, now pulsing with rapid patterns of fear and fascination. They're converting matter into combat units. The Resolute's response was immediate and unexpected. Instead of opening fire with conventional weapons, the human ship released swarms of its own microscopic machines. Anti-countermeasures, Lieutenant Santos explained over the sea. We developed them after discovering von Neumann probes in the Kyre belt. Never thought we'd need them this soon. Vanna watched in amazement as the human countermeasures engaged Thederites, where the two swarms met. Tiny flashes of light marked microscopic hadals being fought on a massive scale. Director Mayer called out, I think I understand their weakness. The door technology relies on perfect order. Their knight's work in Predic able mathematical patterns, but the human countermeasure deliberately chaotic. Chen's voice came through again. Director, your science officer's onto something. We're reading massive energy fluctuations in their main vessel. When their patterns are disrupted, but we don't have enough processing power to analyze and exploit it. Fully, Vanna's antennae straightened. A sinspiration struck, but we do. The Eternal Seeker's quantum computers, they're designed to model complex astronomical phenomena. We could use them to analyze the door patterns and predict their adaptations adjoint. Operation Chin sounded intrigued. Your brains are brawnies. Mayor, reconfigure our primary research arrays, Captain. Chen, if you can't keep their attention focused on your ship way ahead of you, Director. Lieutenant Santos, prep boarding teens if their patterns are of their weakness. Let's give them some chaos to choke on. What followed was unlike anything in either species' military history. That Resolute engaged in a complex dance with Duor vessel, its weapons, and countermeasure swarms, keeping the enemy's attention, while deliberate, in-track random variables into each engagement. Meanwhile, the Eternal Seeker's massive quantum computers process the battle data in real time, identifying pattern weaknesses that the humans could exploit. Their adaptational growths. Our failing mayor reported excitedly they can't compensate for their indemnus. Fast enough through their shared tactical display, Vana watched human boarding teams breach the Devor vessel. Unlike the methodical movement she'd witnessed before now, they move with controlled chaos, never establish thin pitters that the enemy could predict and counter. This is incredible. Santa's broadcast from inside the enemy ship, their internal structure keeps trying to adapt to our presence but can't establish stable configurations. We're literally making them malfunction by being unpredictable at the door. Vessel surface began to ripple erratically as its nanite-based structure lost coherence. The humans had turned their greatest strength, their inherent unpredictability, into a weapon against an enemy that relied on perfect order. Director Chen called out, "We're detecting a massive power surge in their core suggestions." Van's mind raced. Their quantum matrix is collapsing. If we don't contain it, it'll take both our ships. Ouch, unfinished ideas. Actually, Vanna felt her antenna curl, and what humans would let her learn was their equivalent of a smile. "I think it's time we showed you what a Meridian research vessel can really do." The Eternal Seeker crystalline hull began to pulse with colors no humanity had ever seen. Van's crew worked with practiced efficiency, redirecting power from their supposedly peaceful research systems in ways that made Captain Chen's tactical display light up with confusion. "What exactly are you doing?" Director Chen asked as she watched the Meridian vessel's energy reading. "Spike to unprecedented levels, Captain. Did ya wonder why we never developed weapons?" Vanna's voice carried an unusual note of excitement. "It's not because we could. Wouldn't it's because our understanding of energy manipulation made them obsolete." The Eternal Seekers hull transformed into what appeared to be pure light, its crystalline structure now channeling enough power to rival a small star. The door vessel's surface rippled in response, its night structure attempting to adapt to this new phenomenon. "Our containment fields were designed to study black holes," Captain Van En explained. "We can redirect their collapsing obscene quantum matrix into a controlled singularity. But we need your help." "What do you need?" "Your chaos, your impracticality. If your teams can destabilize their internal structure at precisely the right moment." Chen didn't test it. "Lieutenant Santos, you hear that already moving?" Captain Santos responded. "Inside the Devora vessel, teams are splitting up, creating random disruption patterns. But their internal defenses are adapting faster now, because their Asgard may interjected his bioluminescence pulsing with revelation. Look at their energy patterns. They're showing signs of actual emotion. Fear is making them evolve." The Devor vessel's surface began sprouting new formations, Sorgic looking weapons that targeted both ships with increasing accuracy. Their salutes point defense systems flared continuously, barely keeping up with the assault. "Whatever you're going to do," Chen called out, "do it fast. We can't maintain this level of defense much longer." Vanna's antenna straightened with determination. "Captain, on my mark, I need your ship to execute the most random, unpredictable maneuver. You can think of something that defies all tactical logic. You want a logical." Chen's voice carried a hint of amusement. "That's humanity's specialties. Santa's prepare for emergency extraction. All hammed hands. Brace for Omega Victory Maneuver." "Omega Vanna?" questioned, named after an Anthoman entertainment called video games. "Trust me, no logical species would ever expect this." The Eternal Seeker's containment field reached full power just as the door vessel launched its strongest attack yet. At that moment, several things happened simultaneously. Resolute executed what appeared to be a complete systems failure, its engines cutting out as it tumbled over and toward the enemy ship. The Devers, their tactical systems based on predicting logical responses, focused all their attention on this apparent vulnerability in that split second. Off distraction, the Eternal Seeker activated its containment field. A sphere of pure energy enveloped the door vessel, trapping its collapsing quantum matrix within a bubble of controlled spaco time. "Santos, now," Chen ordered. Human boarding teams scattered throughout the door, activated devices that pulsed with electromagnetic chaos, disrupting the night structure at hundreds of points simultaneously. The enemy vessel's surface became a storm of conflicting patterns. As its systems tried desperately to adapt containment field as Holding May reported, his voice tense with concentration, their quantum matrix is collapsing. In on itself, weight Thesa readings. The door vessel's surface suddenly stabilized, but not in the way Inyon expected in. Observed as a human vessel, executed a perfect quantum jump using meridian calculations, and your scientists are originating, surprisingly creative with our combat systems, Chen replied, nodding toward a meridian ship practicing evasive maneuvers that would have been impossible 3 months ago, though, on still getting used to the sight of weapon ports on your vessels. They're not weapons in the traditional sense. Van's antinacuraled in amusement. We prefer to think of them as aggressive research tools. The transformation of the door ship had changed everything. The Eval entity, now calling itself the Synthesis, had shared insights from its millions of years of existence. Before departing for deep space to contemplate its new form of consciousness, but its greatest gift, had been showing both species how much stronger they could be together. Latest reports from the Joint Engineering Team. Lieutenant Santos, now approaching with a data pad, her armor now incorporated Meridian Crystallino, Keckly allowing for better sensor integration. The hybrid drive systems are exceeding all expectations. Meridian precision combined with human intuitive controls, it's revolutionary. Speaking of revolution, Chen turned to Vanna. How's the collective handling all these change, Vaughn? Is bioluminescent patches pulsed with what humans had learned to recognize as amusement about as well as your military-industrial complex is handling the idea of incorporating peace. Research into warship design, challenging, but necessary. Chen finished. The galaxy's bigger than either of you's imagined. We need each other. Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert. A holographic disclaimer realized, showing a massive energy distortion at the edge of known space pattern matches. Devour quantum signatures. Santos reported, her enhanced armor already processing the data. It's different, more organized, yet more chaotic at the same time. The synthesism questioned her scientific curiosity, evident. No Mayer's voice came through. The science officer had been overseeing the joint research project nearby. These signatures suggest something older and hungrier. Chen and Vanana shared a look 3 months ago. Such a threat would have sent the Meridians fleeing to safety, while humans prepared for war now. Alert the joint fleet. Chen ordered all ships to assume defense ensive formation. Delta 7, activate the quantum research arrays. Vanna added full spectrum analysis throughout the station. Human and Meridian crews moved with practiced deficiency where once there had been confusion over different protols and philosophies. Now there was smooth integration, warrior and researcher chaos, and order working as own, Chen nude as they watched their combined fleet move into position. My ancestors used to tell stories about humanity's first steps into space. They always imagined we'd either find enemies to fight or friends to greet, and instead you found us. Van's antenna, which with humor, neither enemy nor traditional friend, but something your stories never considered. Partners. Chen nodded. Different enough to challenge each other, similar enough to work together. The unknown entity emerged from its quantum distortion, massive and threatening, but this time neither humanity nor the Meridians faced it alone. Their combined fleet moved as one, each ship complementing the other's strengths and covering their weaknesses. To think, Vanna reflected as they prepared to face this new challenge. All of this started because we tried to sneak a peek at your solar system, and we responded by threatening to shoot you. Chen laughed. Not her finest diplomatic moment, on the contrary. Vaughn's voice carried warm wisdom, and it was perfectly human. You showed us exactly who and what you were. Protector servers, warriors, and in doing so, you helped us remember something our civilization had forgotten. Oh, that peace isn't just the absence of conflict, Semems. It must be guarded, studied, and occasionally fought. For as their combined fleet engaged the new threat, the stations, quantum sensors captured an image that would soon become famous throughout both civilizations, human and Meridian ships, moving in perfect formation, their differentizations and philosophies creating something greater than either could achieve alone. It was more than just an alliance. It was evolution, adaptation, and growth. it was humanity's. Chaos teaching order, how to dance, and meridian wisdom showing Kao Show to flow with purpose together, they were writing a new chapter in the story of the galaxy, proving that the greatest strengths often come not from changing who you are, but from finding those whose difference can pull you. The bridge between stars had become a bridge between ways of thinking, and the galaxy would never be